similar fashion as we did with the Lewisville candidates, starting with 2 minutes of opening remarks, and then I'll just go down the row, and after that I'll rotate out the questions. Keep passing your questions up if you will, and I will start first with place 1, Michael Walker.
Well, thank you for everybody for coming out tonight. This is the democratic process, and it's good to see that there's a few people around that still believe in it. So thanks for coming out. I want to thank the Denton County GOP for sponsoring this and giving me this opportunity to express myself. I'm Mike Walker. I'm running for place 1 in the town of Flower Mound City Council race, Town Council race. And I'm a resident of Flower Mound since 1995. I've spent 10 years on the various boards and commissions of our town, including Planning and Zoning, Transportation, Board of Adjustment, Oil and Gas Board of Appeals, and the Parks Board. I'm a volunteer. I believe in volunteering for service. My background prior to my volunteer work was working in investment management for financial services companies. Also, I was involved with land use planning for the state of Colorado, working in western Colorado, Fairfax County, Virginia as a planner, and finally with an engineering firm doing land use planning. On the volunteer side, beyond my time with the town, I served in the U.S. military and the U.S. Army Reserve. I also have a master's degree in urban planning. Planning is sort of my core, I think it's in my genes, planning, good or bad. But I firmly believe in it. If we don't know where we're going, it's going to be hard to get there. So I look forward to working and continuing my work with our master planning process in Flower Mound. I was involved with it really pretty much since master planning and smart growth started to be implemented. I believe in it. I think it helps guide all of our budgeting and public services and infrastructure. Planning is the key. So I look forward to continuing my service in the planning area and beyond. My investment management work, working with local governments. I'm very familiar with budgeting. Flower Mound's been blessed to be between 2 major interstates, to be north of an airport, and to be in a state, in Denton County in particular, it's one of the fastest growing areas in the United States. So let's take advantage of that momentum. Let's not mess it up. And I look forward to you voting for me.
Thank you, sir. And then Ms. Joy Bowen.
Hi, my name is Joy Bowen, and I'm running for Town Council, Place 1 in Flower Mound. I want to thank the Denton County Republicans Club for hosting tonight's event. And to my friends, old and new, I just wanted to say thank you for being here and for your support. In my day job, I develop leaders. I work for a nonprofit parachurch organization called Orange, and I work with hundreds of church leaders across the nation. I've lived in Flower Mound for over 9 years, and like many of my neighbors, I really feel like Flower Mound is so much more than just your typical North Texas town. I feel like we need leadership that is going to help promote scalability, the ability of our town to grow gracefully. There's a difference between removing red tape that gets in the way of us being business friendly and doing away with what we have to manage our growth effectively. And so if I'm honored to represent the town of Flower Mound, I hope to represent those who've already invested here, our families and our businesses. And so I ask for your vote. You can check out more of my platform and ideas on electjoybowen.com. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, let's move to the place 5 candidates. Ms. Tammy Ryan.
Hello, thank you. I'm Tammy Ryan. I'm running for Town Council Flower Mound, Place 5. I too am a long-term resident, 13 years. My husband and I relocated to Flower Mound based on the values that matched with our values of our family. I like what it stands for. I like what it means. I like what it means to my family, and I'm sure that maps up with most people that live in Flower Mound. The reason why I'm running for Town Council is based on the image that started my stance here. It's scenic, it's family-oriented, it's family values, and those family values define who we are. And so when decisions are made based on who we are as Flower Mound residents, they need to represent who we are as residents. So no, am I new to politics? Yes. Am I new to leadership? No, I'm not. I ran my own business for quite a few years. I was in the Fortune 500 industry for 10 years, selling product lines and what have you. And I bring those business skills to Town Council. Those things help me make me a better leader. One of the things I found interesting that brought me to this was what's happening in our town. Decisions are being made, and not everybody's happy with those decisions, me being one of them. When I vote a leader in, I expect that leader to represent my voice. my vision. And when that goes contrary to what my vision is, then I think there's time for me to get involved and make a change. So I'm asking for your vote to make a change for Flower Mound. I want to continue that image of what we see Flower Mound now. I want to see growth. We've got growth to the north, we've got growth to the south. Now we need growth in the middle of Flower Mound. We need to spread our business within our city. And the way we spread our business within our city is to promote Flower Mound as a place not just to live, but to work and to play. So I hope you vote for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Levitt?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you to the Denton County Republicans Club for hosting this, and Judge McCary, thank you for being the moderator. My name is Jean Levenick. I have been a resident for 17 years in Flower Mound. I have served on the Planning and Zoning Commission starting in 2006 to 2008, and at that time I decided I had enough experience to try and run for a council position. I ran for council in 2008, and I served on council from 2008 to 2010. In 2010, I stepped down. Last year, when Mayor Hayden won his mayor's seat, there was an open spot for place 5, and I decided to get back in and throw my hat in there to the applicant pool. Out of an application pool of 16 residents, I was appointed unanimously by the council. And what's interesting about that is every single person on council doesn't always agree with me, but we all work together cohesively, and we are working together to make Flower Mound a better place. The last couple of years, we've pretty much been stalled in the economic development department in Flower Mound, and we are on a positive path. We have some exciting things coming that we've been working really hard on. We've just recently approved Lakeside DFW. We have a new developer that has just come forward and put a contract on the Riverwalk property. We've got many new exciting announcements. Some of them I can't talk about yet because they're not public, but we are working very hard as a council to bring quality economic development to Flower Mound, quality jobs to Flower Mound, high-paying jobs, and we're all working together to make that happen. And I would appreciate your vote because I love serving this community, and I love Flower Mound, and I've raised my kids here. They're leaving for college. One's in college, the other one will be leaving in the fall, and this is what I do. I volunteer for Flower Mound, and I completely love what I do. So thank you.
Will you stay with us, and I'll offer you up the first question,
Okay.
and you have 1 minute to respond or to use that time to elaborate on anything else because it goes hand in hand with what you were talking about. That question is, what new initiatives would you support to bring a greater diversity of businesses to Flower Mound?
Well, we've been working really hard as a council. Almost every day I go to a meeting with someone who is a current business owner in Flower Mound or someone wanting to do business in Flower Mound. And you know, it's getting out there and talking to these people and showing them what Flower Mound can offer for them and what we can offer for what they can bring to Flower Mound and what we can help them with. Sometimes it's incentives to get them going. It's just all working together to bring the great jobs that we need in Flower Mound, that we want our residents here to work in Flower Mound and live in Flower Mound. And like I said, we've got a couple of very exciting announcements coming up, and they're on the cusp of getting ready to happen, and I'm sorry I can't talk about them, but it's really exciting for Flower Mound.
Thank you, ma'am. And Tammy, do you need the question again?
No, thank you. To Jean's point, there are some new things that are coming to Flower Mound, and those things are good. The greater point is we've heard that story before, that there are things coming to Flower Mound. Are there things that we're asking for as residents? There are some simple things we ask for as residents, and I've been here 13 years waiting for them. I would like a hotel. I would like a great shoe store. I would like great shopping that I go to all these other cities for. I want them in my city. So why am I not getting those things? So the question is, do we have the right leadership to bring those type of business to Flower Mound? I haven't gotten it yet, so my answer is no. What can I do to help? Well, one of the things that I pride myself on is putting myself on national campaigns in which I volunteer for organizations, not just locally, but nationally, and look into those business structures as to how do they get businesses to come here. What is it that we want? You have to ask your residents. And so our residents are saying, we want these things here. What can you do to bring those things here? And I think I have the passion to do that.
Thank you. All right, let's move to place 1, and will you take this one, Joy? Do you want me to reread it? What new initiatives would you support to bring a greater diversity of businesses to Flower Mound?
Excellent question. One of the things that really made me convicted to run for town council this year was some changes that we've made to our master plan, which has changed the zoning for a lot of our commercial revenue potential has been given away in exchange for high-density residential. As far as new programs to bring economic development to Flower Mound, we desperately need true economic development in Flower Mound. We need a more balanced tax base. In fact, just yesterday I was having a wonderful discussion with the limitations to bringing a hotel to our lakeside area. It's due to the fact that we don't have enough of a traffic draw into that area to find a hotel provider. We also contracted, interestingly, with Tip Strategies and the Retail Coach for recommendations on the best types of businesses, retail, and restaurants for Flower Mound. I requested a copy of that report, and it was sent to the Attorney General to be sealed. There you go.
Thank you. Michael?
Yes, in terms of how do we attract newness, new development, commercial development in our town, I think we have now the ordinance in place, which I was familiar with because I was a member of planning and zoning when mixed use was being discussed and implemented. The whole concept of mixed use, and let me backstep, we have Canyon Falls, which is at I-35 and the 377 area on the west. We have Lakeside, which is on our southern border, 2499 bordering Grapevine. And then we have the Riverwalk project, which has been sort of stalled because of financial difficulties, which is really becoming and defining our new downtown area near the hospital complex. So we have a lot of interest in Flower Mound. I don't think I'm going to hurt anybody's feelings to say Flower Mound has a history of not being able to get along with each other very well. One of the reasons I joined was to take advantage of maybe a calmer time where we're all in the boat together rowing in the same direction. Coincidentally, we have an economic interest in Flower Mound, so I want to couple that and let's implement our new and challenging new concepts. Thank you.
All right, stay with me, I'll hand you the next question.
Okay.
Speaking of diversity.
Yes.
Issues that cause problems.
Okay.
What do you believe is the strength of Flower Mound's oil and gas ordinance?
Well, we had, before it was revised 2 years ago, probably, and you can debate the strongest or one of the strongest oil and gas ordinances in the state of Texas. Because it looked at all of the environmental issues, water quality. I was on the oil and gas board when we had a lot of Board of Appeals, which is a semi-judicial body in the town that does not have appellate or administrative reporting to our town council. It goes directly to the courts for review. So I like that concept. You take politics out of oil and gas drilling, and in theory, you look at just the facts of oil and gas drilling. It's an emotional issue, I understand that. We had an election and a petition, we got through that. We went through a new revised ordinance, which is even stronger than the one we had beforehand. We have, I think, the strongest oil and gas ordinance in the state. I support the ordinance and went through the process. It's what we have. The challenge will be not so much within Flower Mound, it'll be external like in Austin to challenge our ability to regulate, and it'll be the courts. So stay tuned. But I do support the ordinance today. Thank you.
Yes, we do have one of the strongest oil and gas ordinances. When it comes down to oil and gas drilling, really I feel like it shouldn't be treated any differently than any other development that we have coming to our town. If it meets the ordinances, if it meets our smart growth criteria, if it meets our master plan uses, then by all means it should be allowable and encouraged. It's a great source of income for our town. But I do support our oil and gas ordinance. I think it's very strong, and I think it protects our residents and our community.
Thank you. Do you need the question, Tammy?
Yeah. Thank you. I'm like most of the panelists here. I'm in support of the oil and gas ordinance. Flower Mound is known to have one of the best oil and gas ordinances, and that was a long, hard fight. That was based on residents' input and us giving our valued opinion as residents what we expect from our town. And I think they listened, and they put in protections for us, and I stand by those protections.
Again, we have one of the strongest ordinances in the area with our oil and gas ordinance. I completely support that ordinance. The town of Flower Mound and the residents spent almost a year drafting and implementing this ordinance, and I fully stand behind that and support that. And respectfully, Ms. Ryan, if you would have been involved at the time, you would know more about the ordinance, and I wish you would have been involved a little bit more at that time. As a matter of fact, I just recently went to Austin. I drove to Austin to speak in opposition of House Bill 1496 and in front of the Land and Resource Management Committee. And my understanding that I heard today is that that House bill will probably not make it out of committee. So we're very happy that that's going to be happening. So I do support the ordinance.
All right, let me move back to place one then, and I'll start with Joy. With the current growth rate of Flower Mound, what changes do you feel need to be made in regard to the direction of the council?
Say the question again.
Yes, ma'am. With the current growth rate of Flower Mound, what changes do you feel need to be made in regard to the direction of the council?
Thank you very much. Okay, so there have been some aggressive changes that have happened over the past year, specifically with the changes to our master plan and to our smart growth criteria for schools. I represent a more balanced approach. Was the pendulum swung too far one way? Did we make business a little bit too cumbersome? Absolutely. But I feel the pendulum may have swung too far in the opposite direction. We need a balanced approach. We need to strip away the red tape that gets in the way of people wanting to do business here at Flower Mound, but not at the expense of what keeps Flower Mound great. We need to manage our growth wisely. And that's my stance. So I basically am running for town council to bring back that balanced perspective.
Thank you. Michael? Yes, sir. With the current growth rate of Flower Mound, what changes do you feel need to be made in regard to the direction of the council?
Well, I'm very, again, as I said earlier, I think this is a calmer period in the town. It's one of the reasons I ran for this council position this cycle, to move beyond what I consider to be sort of arguing who's going to rent the car. Instead, let's get in the car and go do something. And we're now getting such a tremendous amount of interest from outside of Flower Mound in the development community to do it right. And with that and the risk has been reduced because there is more harmony at town council. So this is the right time to serve. I don't anticipate and certainly don't ask for any changes with the town council that we have sitting. In fact, I'd like to join them and to sustain their efforts for planning as well as looking forward to maintaining our budget, and that we can have affordable a budget without increasing our debt and do it right.
Thank you. Jean, do you need that question?
Sure, go ahead and give it to me.
With the current growth rate of Flower Mound, what changes do you feel need to be made in regard to the direction of the council?
I actually think the direction of council is a positive path that we're on right now. We have been stalled in recent years with economic development. We had a council previously that didn't even want to look at the Lakeside DFW project. And I don't believe that we're swinging too far to one side. I think we're moving forward in a positive path. We had the economy situation in 2008 that put a stall on the Riverwalk project. As we move farther in, we're very lucky and fortunate to be in a community that developers are starting to look at. We are proactively marketing Flower Mound as, you know, we want you here, our residents want you here, and we need to find ways to get you here. We're marketing the fact that we're so close to an international airport 3 miles away from us. It's very important to keep getting that out there and let the people know that we're open for business and we want you here and we need quality economic development.
Thank you. Ms. Tammy, do you need a question?
Yes, please.
With the current growth rate of Flower Mound, what changes do you feel need to be made in regard to the direction of the council?
I think the council is going in a good direction, but again, nothing's changed about the position of Flower Mound. Flower Mound has been where it's been. We're in a great location. We're in the middle, Highland Village that has great development, and we're just north of a great airport area that can bring traffic our way. The question is, why hasn't that growth happened here? It's because the image of Flower Mound has been difficult to do business with. And yes, we need to improve that image. We need to do better. We need to say why we're open for business. And the only way we can say is why we're open to do business is by opening our doors and saying we're willing to help you. We'll help you come into our area. That's not been the case in the past in Flower Mound. Riverwalk, great concept. We now have someone that has backing that can do Riverwalk. Lakeside, we're waiting to see if that will come true. And so I'm like most residents, I want to see what's going to happen to Flower Mound, but I do feel that we are in the right direction.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, 1 minute closing remarks for each candidate, and I'll go in reverse order. So I'll start with Ms. Joy Bowen for place 1. 1 minute for closing remarks.
If town council is going in the right direction, Why have we given our prime real estate for commercial development away for high-density residential? Our tax base is so far out of whack. We need a more balanced tax base. Right now, the burden comes on the residents. In fact, we have removed the smart growth criteria for schools and approved so much residential development that now our communities are completely stressed about which schools they will be zoned to in future months. We are at a critical point in the direction of Flower Mound. We need people who can take the perspective of families and businesses who are currently here, who can make decisions that will better balance the tax base for Flower Mound and not sacrifice the commercial potential we have for more residential in our area. I ask for your vote. I ask for you to value diverse perspectives on council. The best leadership will happen when we bring people together and value different opinions at the table.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Michael Walker?
Yes, again, without repeating myself, but this is a time that I chose to run because I think that we're in calmer waters, plus we have great economic wind behind us to do it right. I disagree about Lakeside. I think Lakeside is the right choice. In fact, Lakeside had been sitting there almost dormant for years, and finally we have a development community that stepped up and wants to make something happen at Lakeside. And it's under the mixed-use ordinance, which allows for a good mix of residential, commercial, and both rental housing as well as lofts and retail. So I think we're hitting a home run. An amphitheater and a hotel site is also in the area. So I'm happy with that. I also want you to support me. It's hard to differentiate all of this because we all tend to say the same things about we all love planning and smart growth. But one thing that I don't want to do is damage smart growth. And when I said I'm planning and zoning, we deleted and amended a provision about public schools because our town attorney told us to do so, because it would risk our entire ordinance because of legal challenges. We have to move on and not worry about challenges and do it right. Please vote for me.
To the place 5 candidates, I'll go in reverse order then. Ms. Jean Levinek for a 1-minute closing remark, please.
Thank you. Thank you again for having us here tonight. I really appreciate it. I asked for your vote for Town Council Place 5. I have a website, which is jeanlevinek.com. I want to make one comment about Lakeside DFW because I think it's important. This is a project that has been, like Mr. Walker said, the landowners own this property for a long time. They've been trying to get something done on it. We've been able to move ahead with it. And what it was zoned for before we changed it to mixed-use zoning was campus commercial. And what that allowed for was office buildings up to the FAA limit on that property, right up against a residential housing area. So we were able to take an ordinance and change the zoning on that, make the zoning so that it transitions from what is there now, the neighborhood to the north, and move forward into it to have more housing diversity and shopping and retail options. And I ask for your vote so I can continue to serve the town of Flower Mound. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tammy Ryan, 1-minute closing remark.
Great. Tammy Ryan, Place 5, Town Council. Lakeside is a great concept. The changes to Lakeside that I disagree with is that there's more housing. How many rooftops does it take to get a business here? Our biggest problem is that we don't have enough balanced commercial development in Flower Mound. We have rooftops. How many rooftops does it take to get a business? If you put a residential development bumping up to a commercial development prior to, you're going to have the continued fight that we see now in Flower Mound. Residential not wanting the commercial development because they bought residential first. We need to put the commercial development in first. Come to me with commercial. Let's do the commercial side. We've got the residential side. We have rooftops. Let's focus on the part that we need to focus on. Lakeside is focusing on the residential again. That is not what we want. We want commercial development. So I'm here to say, change the focus. Bring to us what you said you were going to bring to us, commercial development. Vote for me, Place 5, Tammy Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if I can have the LISD candidates 3, 4, and 5, please. 3 near me.